Okay, so hi, I'm Dylan Mendonça, and this is part 2 of DylAcademy from Math Paper 3H from November 2007. So let's get straight into it. Well, we left off with question 11, and what question 11 is asking you to do is make x the subject of the formula, meaning when you want x the subject, you need to get all the x's on one side and make x equal to something. Only x, not 3x, not 2x, not 4x, just x. Okay, so what we do is we subtract x on both sides to get all of the x's on one side, meaning, so we get 3x minus x minus y is equal to, x minus x is nothing, is equal to 7. So 3x minus x is 2x minus y is equal to 7. Now we need to add y to both sides to get rid of the negative y on this side, on the left side. So negative y and y cancel, so 2x is equal to 7 plus y. Now to get x alone, we divide both sides by 2, and so we get x is equal to 7 plus y over 2. And that way x is the subject. Okay, in 12.1 you're basically given a triangle, two right angle triangles joined together from one big triangle, and you're being asked to find BC. Now BC I've labeled as x in this case. So let's just look at this part of the triangle to solve this part of the question. So basically if you look at it, we're given an angle. We're given the hypotenuse, which is the side opposite to the right angle, and we're given the adjacent, which is the line which both the right angle and the angle lie on. So in this case, you have to think about the SOHCAHTOA function, SOHCAHTOA, which I explained in the previous video, and it's basically what function relates adjacent and the hypotenuse side, and it's the cosine function. So cosine of 25, the angle, is equal to adjacent, which is x, over hypotenuse. So we times by 8 on both sides, and we get x, which is the BC, is equal to 8 times cosine 25. So BC is equal to 7.25, and I've already corrected this to 3 significant figures. Okay, next question, 12.2. You are being asked to find out CD. Now, I'll just call CD y in this case. And basically we have BD, which is 7.5, and we have BC, which is 7.25. Now, we're going to take only this triangle to solve this part of the question. So, in this case, we have two sides, but we don't have one side. Now, there's this formula called Pythagoras Theorem, which basically states that the hypotenuse squared is equal to the other sides added together squared. So, a squared plus b squared, sorry. Yeah? So, basically, in this case, 7.5 squared, which is hypotenuse, is equal to BC squared, which is 7.25 squared, plus y squared. Now, this only applies for right-angled triangles, not any triangle, just right-angled triangles. Okay? So that makes, so to get to find out y squared, or CD squared, so we have to subtract both sides by 7.25 squared, so we get 7.5 squared minus 7.25 squared. I'm just going to rush through the algebra because it's pretty easy. So y squared is equal to 3.6875. Now to find out y, or CD, we need to square root both sides. So y is equal to the square root of 3.6875, which is 1.92 centimeters. And this has already been corrected to 3 significant figures. Okay, in 13a, you're being asked to factorize x squared minus 100. Before you do this, I need to explain to you the note which I've written on the side, and that will help us solve this question. It basically says that a squared minus b squared can factorize to a plus b, a minus b. This is an identity which is proven, and basically you can use this to help you with this question. And you should be expected to know this as an IGCSE student. So how do we apply this to this question? Basically, it becomes x squared minus 100 can be written as 10 squared. So now this puts x in the position of as a and 10 as b. So now we've gotten into the form a squared minus b squared. So all we need to do is factorize it to x plus 10 and x minus 10. And you just have to follow the rule to do this. So that's the factorize. Okay, 13b, you're being asked to factorize a quadratic function. Now for any quadratic function, you have to find two numbers that add to give you basically this, and multiply to give you this times this. Yeah. So basically you have to find two numbers in this case that add to give you -1 and multiply to give you 1 times -12, which is -12. So if you think about those two numbers would be -4 and 3. So what you do is you split this into -4x and 3x, and you put each side, each of these normally, as you would. Sorry. Now you got to factorize each side separately. So in this case, you find out what's common between x squared minus 4x. It's x. So x is common. Now you divide both the terms by x. So you divide this by x and this by x. So you get x squared divided by x is x, and 4x, -4x divided by x is -4. And the same thing you do with the other side. What's common in between them? 3. So 3x divided by x is x, and -12 divided by 3x divided by 3 is x, and -12 divided by 3 is -4. Now in a quadratic equation, this should always be the same, otherwise you've gone wrong somewhere. Now what you do is you take the whole equation and you see what's common. X minus 4 is common. So now you're factorizing the whole thing. And so you divide both of the terms by x minus 4. So x into x minus 4 divided by x minus 4 is nothing but x, and 3 into x minus 4 divided by x minus 4 is 3. So that's your factorized form. If you don't understand the quadratic equation concept, I suggest you go to factorizing with on this site called DylAcademy. He explains it really well. Okay, so for 13C, it's just a quadratic equation. You apply the same principles, but in this case, you're finding two numbers that add to give you 7, right? And two numbers that multiply to give you 3 times 2, which is 6. 3 times 2, which is 6. So those two numbers would be 6 and 1. So it becomes 3x squared plus 6x plus x plus 2. Now 3x and 6x, so 3x is common, and that gives you x plus 2. And between x and 2, 1 is common, and that gives you x plus 2. I'm just rushing through this because I expect you know this already. And so that just gives you a simplified answer of 3x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, in question 14, you're asked to solve the simultaneous equations. Now, there are many methods of doing this. There's one elimination and there's a substitution, but I'll do the substitution method. If you want to use elimination, I don't know, like go to another tutorial like DylAcademy, he explains it pretty well. So for substitution, what I'll do is I take the first equation and I simplify it to make one of the variables like the subject. So I'll make x a subject in this case. So I'll say 2x is equal to 16 minus 5y, and x is equal to 16 minus 5y over 2. Next, what I'll do is I'll substitute this x into equation number 2. So in equation number 2, I'll substitute 16 minus 5y over 2. So I get 4 times 16 minus 5y over 2 plus 3y is equal to 11. Okay, so I'm kind of going to rush through this. So 4 times 6, so expanding the brackets you get 64 minus 20y over 2, and if you subtract 3y on both sides you get 11 minus 3y, right? I'm just skipping a few steps. So then multiply 2 by both sides, you get 64 minus 20y is equal to 22 minus 6y. Now get the y's on one side and the numbers on the one side. So you get negative 20y plus 6y is equal to 22 minus 64. Okay, so now it becomes negative 14y is equal to negative 42. Now divide both sides by negative 14, you get negative 42 divided by negative 14. So y is equal to 3. So now you know that y is equal to 3, you can just substitute this back into equation 1 to find a value for x. So 2 times x plus 5 times 3, you're substituting y with 3, is equal to 16. So 2x plus 15 is equal to 16. Now subtract 15 on both sides. 2x is equal to 1. X is equal to, divide 2 by both sides, so you get x is equal to half. So in the end your solution is x equal to half and y is equal to 3. That is your answer. Okay, so question 15. You're being asked to find the area of the shaded sector of the circle. So now you know that it's a sector of circle, you have to find the area for. So if you look at the circle, if this angle is 50 degrees, this angle should be 360 minus 50 degrees, since the angles in a circle add up to 360. So that angle should be 360 minus 50, which is 310 degrees. Okay, so now that we know that that's 310, we can use this formula which I've written here. Angle divided by 360 times pi r squared is equal to area of sector of circle. So if I do 310 divided by 360 times pi times r, which is 12 squared, it'll give me the area of the sector which I want to find, and that sector is this shaded sector. So it'll give me the area of that sector. So if we just do this, it'll become 389.557, which is just 390. And remember it's area, so centimeter squared. Just use your calculator to solve this. It's simple. Oh yeah, and this is given to 3 significant figures. Okay, in question 16a, we're being asked to simplify. Now what I'd recommend for this is you factorize the bottom and the top. So then you can find common factors which you can just divide and cancel. So in the top, we'll factorize the top, we get x is common. So we divide x squared by x, you get x. And negative 3x divided by x gives you negative 3. And now we'll factorize the bottom part. So we're done with the top, now we'll do the bottom part. So what is common in between them? It's 2. And so 2x divided by x is nothing but x, and negative 6 divided by 2 gives you negative 3. So now we see that x minus 3 and x minus 3 are common for both. So we can just divide them both out and they cancel, giving you x over 2 as a simple answer. Okay, 16b, you're being asked to simplify again. But here it's not just, you can't just take one step of factorizing and cancelling common things. In this case, there are two different fractions. You can't just subtract them. You have to get a common denominator. So how do you do this? So, well, what you do to get a common denominator is you cross multiply. So what you do is you take this denominator here, you multiply it there, then you take this denominator here, you multiply it there, and you multiply both of these together. So this is basically to get a common multiple, because you're making both the denominators into each other. So basically what you get is 2 times x minus 3 times x minus 1 over, this is the common denominator, x minus 1 times x. Now see what you've done, you've made them all one fraction. So now you can simplify this more easily. Okay, so we'll just solve the top for now. So you get 2x minus 3x minus 3 over x minus 1 times x. So this becomes minus x minus 3 over, now we'll expand this bottom, we get x squared minus x. Oh, I'm really sorry, but I made a small mistake here. Minus 3 times minus 1 is plus 3. So instead of the negative 3, it's a plus 3. So instead of this, we get 2x minus 3x, which is minus x. So 3 minus x over, and we complete the bottom, we get x squared minus x. And that is the simplest it can go. You can't factorize it any further. Okay, question 17. You've been given a probability tree diagram, and 17a. You've been given a diagram and you're asked to complete the diagram. So probability diagrams just deal with showing probabilities. So basically, they say the probability of him scoring a goal after he takes a shot is 3 over 4. So that means, since probabilities add up to 1, the chances of him missing the shot would be 1 minus 3 over 4, which is nothing but 1 over 4. So there you filled in for the first shot. Yeah? You filled in the tree. Now for the second shot again, after let's say he scores a goal and he takes his let's say he scores a goal and then he takes his second shot, he could score a goal again or he could miss again. So there you have two more branches. So you have goal or miss. And again the probabilities are the same, because how can he how can his probability be affected? And the same thing for this part. If he misses the first shot, he's gonna get on the second shot he takes, he can either score a goal or he can miss again. And again the probabilities are 3 over 4 and 1 over 4. So there, that's your probability diagram completed. Here's just a neater version, so you can just understand it and draw it properly in your past paper. Okay, for 17b1, they're saying that Nikos takes 2 shots, and what is the probability of him scoring 2 goals? So now the probability of him scoring the first goal is 3 over 4. So now on top of that, there's another probability of, in the second shot, him scoring another goal, and that's 3 over 4. Since these are 2 separate instances, you need to multiply the probabilities of scoring goals together. So it becomes 3 over 4 times 3 over 4, which becomes 9 over 16 as the probability. When you're talking about the probability of 2 different instances occurring, like the first and the second shot, the first shot being the first instance, the second shot being the second instance, you have to multiply the probabilities together. Okay, in the second question, they're saying the probability that he'll score exactly 1 goal. Now, first of all, you have to decide how he can score 1 goal in the 2 shots. So, first of all, he can score a goal in the first shot and then miss the second shot, or miss the first shot and then score a goal in the second shot. So basically, these are the 2 likely events. So you first have to calculate the probability of this event and add it to the probability of this event, so you can get the total probability. So basically, the probability of him scoring a goal and then missing would be 3 over 4 times 1 over 4, which is 3 over 16. And the same thing over here, it's 1 over 4 times 3 over 4, which is 3 over 16. Now all you have to do is add these together to get the probability of him scoring exactly 1 goal, which is 6 over 16, which can be simplified to 3 over 8. In question 17c, they're basically saying that Nikos has taken 3 shots, and now what is the probability that he'll score exactly 1 or 2 goals? Now this is a bit of a tricky question, and you have to think a bit in this case. So basically the 2 events that cannot be included in this probability of scoring exactly 1 goal or exactly 2 goals is scoring all 3 or missing all 3, right? So basically you find the probability of him scoring all 3, and that's nothing but 3 over 4 times 3 over 4 times 3 over 4. Then you calculate, which is equal to 27 over 64. Then you calculate the probability of him missing 3 goals, which is 1 over 4 times 1 over 4 times 1 over 4, which is nothing but 1 over 64. So since probability adds to 1, 1 minus these probabilities added together, so 27 over 64 plus 1 over 64 will give you the probability of scoring 1 or 2 goals, because these are the only 2 probabilities not included in that probability. So that makes it 1 minus 28 over 64, which is 9 over 16. And that's the probability of scoring exactly 1 or 2 goals. Okay, thanks for watching part 2. Now please go on to watch part 3 if you have any more questions. And if you have any questions, please comment below and also rate and subscribe this video. Thanks a lot, and yeah, bye.